Mate, wait till we get to court on the other one. But on this one, I've got confirmation from the CPS that a senior prosecutor looked at it before making the charging decision.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
This is Arooj Shah's witness statement. The first thing to note about a witness statement is it's dated the 6th of August 2021. They arrested me on the 23rd of July 2021. So they get her witness statement of how I've caused her alarm and distress and all the rest of that bollocks 2 weeks after they arrest me. So we're clear, DS Dean and his mates came and arrested me first before they'd even got a witness statement. They came and arrested me before they even got a witness statement. This is a setup. This was an attempted setup by Oldham Council in partnership with DS Dean through their Operation Hexagon, which is unlawful. I'm the current leader of Oldham Council, blah, blah, blah. At the end of June 2021, I was made aware of a post that was circulating online. This was a post on an open Facebook page called Recusant 9. I know this page is run by a man called RAJA MIAH, and I have been at the receiving end of his hate and abuse for around 3 years. No, I've been objecting to you politically, which we can legally do in a democracy. And we're clear, even Greater Manchester Police have had to say, DS Dean has had to say that I have, even though they've been following me for 4 years. My posts have not been unlawful or illegal, so they're not been hateful or abusive. I do not know RAJA MIAH or any of his friends and patrons personally. My only link to him prior to this campaign of harassment was as a member of staff at Jim McMahon MP's office, where Jim and his office were dealing with a number of complaints from parents and other concerned individuals about Mr. MIAH's activities at his 2 free schools. Mr. MIAH is clearly aggrieved that local MPs sought answers about alleged financial irregularities, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm not agreed about that at all. I was cleared. You lot made it up. That you're continuing to make up stuff. Which is why your mate McMahon is hiding behind parliamentary privilege. The online campaign of harassment is intentionally abusive, regularly threatening in tone, including repeated use of the phrase tick-tock as a direct threat of something happening to me and others. Absolutely. Tick-tock. Tick-tock, tick-tock, something called an election. We took you out. That doesn't mean we killed you. Maybe you've been hanging around gangsters too long. TikTok, in the context when I used TikTok, was time is running out. There's an election coming and we will beat you at the ballot box. That's clearly what we meant by TikTok. Although, remember I was arrested for that post for the Muslim Never Mind the Many, and the Facebook post linked to that. TikTok wasn't used, but in any case, what do you think I meant by TikTok? Time's running out. Much of what Mr. MIAH writes is racist and Islamophobic. How? Where? Where is anything I write racist or Islamophobic? And intended, so she's claiming what I'm intending, to incite others to act and speak against me in a violent and threatening manner. Every time I consider his activity as a hate crime. Every time in the lead up to taking Arooj Shah out, what I have encouraged people to do is vote. I'm not intending people to incite others to act and speak against you in a violent and threatening manner. I demonstrated very clearly what my intentions were when I was knocking on the doors of South Chadderton, when DS Dean unlawfully tried to prevent me from campaigning and threatened he'd arrest me if I campaigned. I have encouraged people to vote. Vote, vote, vote. This particular post said, really pleased to see Lewis Quigg, blah, blah, blah. Right? I'll show the post in a bit, so there's no need to see the post now. At the bottom of the post was a link to a blog entitled For the Muslim Never Mind the Many. This blog, written by RAJA MIAH, is aimed at me and openly, strongly criticises and belittles me and everything I am doing. Well, criticising you and belittling you and everything you are doing is not unlawful. You're a politician. I can criticise you and belittle your actions. That's not unlawful. Upon reading the Facebook post and the blog, I was absolutely gobsmacked at the vile remarks he was making, referring to ordinary people from Oldham as being radicalised. I maintain that a child holding up a banner calling for the eradication of Israel to be a clear example of radicalisation from my proven expertise in counter-extremism. What's your proven expertise in, Arooj Shah? And comparing a protest outside a factory to Crystal Night. Actually, if you read what I said, I didn't compare the protest outside a factory to compare it to Crystal Night. I objected to the smashing of the windows of a Jewish-owned factory and the symbolism behind that. I found his comments deeply offensive, and they caused me a lot of distress to the point that I was in tears reading his words. This poison that he's relentlessly pushing online and the resulting online activity from his supporters and patrons has caused me untold distress. What, so we're now not allowed to question the political decisions of those who run our town? I'm sure you'd like it that way, but that's not how democracy works. It has had a serious impact on my mental and physical health and has led me to fear for my life. How has it led you to fear for your life and the lives of my family? It is hard to list all of the individual incidences and impacts, as there have been so many over such a long period, but I would like to share some of the most significant. So she is now going to share some of the most significant. This is where it gets good. Since late 2019, the daily attacks and unlicensed abuse has caused me to suffer from depression and anxiety, which has affected my daily life. I have become withdrawn, struggled to concentrate and focus, and have suffered long periods of insomnia. I have sought counselling and am receiving ongoing support as a result of the ongoing trauma I face. On the 27th of July 2020, during a particularly difficult period of harassment, which was affecting me and my family significantly, I noticed that my face had begun visibly drooping on one side. At this time, the ongoing online activity perpetrating by Mr. MIAH was causing me a great deal of anxiety and stress. So we're clear, I was objecting to Arooj Shah's friendship with the convicted heroin dealer, getaway driver of the Oldham cop killer, Dale Cregan. I was struggling to sleep or focus on everyday tasks. I sought the support of my GP, who referred me to the Department of Neurology at Salford Royal Hospital. After examination and discussion, the consultant neurologist diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what soldiers get in war zones, post-traumatic stress disorder, caused by the online abuse I was facing. I doubt for 1 minute that any neurologist would link me questioning you to you suffering this. And I genuinely, I'm sympathetic to anyone who suffers stress. Says a man who's been falsely accused of being arrested as part of a child sex exploitation investigation. He confirmed that this had caused physical damage to my face. The damage continues to cause a dropping to the left side of my face, and doctors cannot tell me whether this will be reversible. I went and investigated some of this in terms of the dropping of face towards one side. There are other things that can cause it. And I'll keep the most ridiculous because I wouldn't want to be inferring anything. And I'm not inferring anything. But there are other things that can cause that. Including, what's that injection you put in to get rid of your wrinkles? Botox, or whatever it is. Yeah, too much of that can cause drooping of a face. Thank you. It's that. Yeah. I don't know whether she has Botox or not. I'll leave it for those who know better. I know she'd have to have proven all of this in court, wouldn't she? Yeah. But she's blaming me for her face drooping or something. Yeah. Was I right to bring to public attention that at the time the deputy leader of Oldham Council hung off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer and celebrated her election victory with a man who'd kidnapped and tortured a young person? Is that not in the public interest? Well, the police clearly thought it was in the public interest because they didn't charge me for that. Thank you, Sally Ann. The cruel nature of the online comments about my appearance. I've not made any cruel nature of a comment about her appearance. It has further affected my confidence and undermined my ability and desire to make public appearances. A major part of my role as council leader. So she's blaming me for her face drooping. Next one. In April 2020, while campaigning, the date is important, in April 2020, while campaigning for the upcoming local election, I was canvassing in a street in Alexander Ward. I was knocking on doors when a man answered the door and began screaming abuse at me and my colleagues. He physically charged at us and attempted to assault my colleagues who was nearest to him. Is that not a police? If that was true, should that not have been reported to the police? Should that man not have been arrested or at the very least interviewed by GMP? He chased us onto and down the street to our cars. During this, he was screaming to me, "I know who you are," and making reference to the content by Mr. Mia and his Facebook page. So he actually wasn't making reference to me. He was making reference to content that he was aware of. He threw himself in front of my car to prevent me from leaving. Did you report him to the police? I believe he had read and been incited to act in this manner by the content created by Mr. Mia. So she's inferring that she believes that what I had said had caused someone who I had never met to be angry at her. I am now afraid to be out alone in public in case others who have seen Mr. Mia's false accusations, if any of my accusations were false, I would have been arrested and charged. And slurs seeking to harm me. I've never sought to harm Arooj Shah. I would never seek to harm anyone. I achieved what I sought to do, which was have her beaten in an election. Due to my role, I am a recognisable figure in the local area and so feel unable to carry out normal activities like shopping or exercising in public. Many of you have seen her in shopping centres and hanging out in places. But what's important here is reference to her in April 2020 out campaigning. She was out campaigning during lockdown. If an elderly gentleman opened up his door during lockdown to find some politicians from the campaign during a global pandemic, the height of the global pandemic, someone had knocked on my door campaigning during the height of the global pandemic, I don't think I would have been as charitable as this man. So she's admitting to being out campaigning during lockdown and reporting an attempted assault on one of her colleagues and trying to link it back to me. Well, sorry, in April 2020, if your colleague had been, if you're out campaigning during lockdown, you're the one who should be arrested. And if someone attempted to assault your colleague, did you report it to the police? And trying to link me to someone who might have. Again, nothing so far on this article. It is John. Arrestable offence during lockdown, John. Admits to being out campaigning during lockdown. Here we go. In July 2021, somebody attacked my car outside my home, setting it on fire and destroying it and risking the lives of my neighbours. My information is that the car wasn't parked outside her home. Have I got that wrong? My information is that the car wasn't parked outside her home. But let's carry on. While police investigations into this crime are ongoing, I cannot help but feel I am a potential victim for further attacks due to Mr. Mia's ongoing harassment. His recent insinuation that the crime was committed by me or people known to me as a setup or insurance fraud has led to multiple death threats being issued online in response to his comments, including multiple people stating they wished I was in the vehicle when it was set alight. Well then, you know what should happen to those multiple people who wanted you to be in the car when it was set alight? I hope they get arrested. But seeing as though it's been well over a year since this, and no one has been arrested, I question how truthful this allegation is. Question. The videos raised, the leaked video raised, well, it clearly proved, despite Jim McMahon's claims, this wasn't me. The door was unlocked, Arooj Shah, wasn't it? Arooj Shah, issue a statement. Was the door unlocked of your car? Did you park your car outside your house? Was the door unlocked? It was parked down the street at the side, well away from our house. Thank you, Sheila. Was the door unlocked? Why did these lads smash the window afterwards of an open door? Why have the police over a year later not charged anyone? If that happened to me, I'd be making a public statement screaming at the lack of police progress. Not going and doing a thumbs up with the policeman, with the most senior policeman, saying, isn't he great? And taking an award off him. So again, nothing so far on what I've been actually arrested on. He and his friends and patrons regularly create and share content that is designed to incite those with racist and Islamophobic views to speak out and act against me. All of you how can I be promoting Islamophobic views when all the time I'm very, very clear that I am a Muslim? And as for the racist views, you all saw what I did to that patriotic alternative organisation recently. And how angry they got because I single-handedly quashed any progress they were making in our town. He has repeatedly made accusations I am part of and in fact helped lead an Asian cartel. He has made reference to me helping to create a caliphate in Oldham and has repeatedly, actually I made reference to Jim McMahon. But you carry on. She's trying to link herself to the murder of Joe Cox MP, and somehow she's seen parallels of my incitement, apparently. The fear is not only held by me, but my family and close friends. Most recently, an article about me being named as part of a BAME power list was shared on Proud of Oldham and Saddleworth Facebook page. A page that regularly shares Mr. Mia's content, so clearly I didn't share it, did I? Did I share it? And whoever said strangling comes to mind, I don't care. If you, why didn't you report them? Get them arrested. Did I do it? No. So there's nothing there of what I did. In addition, on a number of occasions, Mr. Mia has intimated that I'm promiscuous. I haven't. Compared me to sex workers. No. And claimed that I have sexually transmitted diseases. This has caused untold distress to me and my family. Absolute nonsense. While these comments may have seemed less damaging than others I have faced in my community, these are serious accusations to be levelled at a woman and bring a significant amount of shame on individuals and their families. Okay. Arooj Shah, your mate, Irish Shimmy, who is convicted in a court, made allegations I am gay. Tell me how that is interpreted in a Muslim community. Your mate Neil Wilby has gone online and posted questions where he's claimed I've come out gay. For those of you who are in doubt about this, being gay in Islam and coming out gay in a Muslim community is an open place. You're asking to be killed. My brother has been told that his sister is a slag. Why? How should I know? How should I know why your brother has been told that you're a slag? How should I know? Maybe he dated you. Maybe he wanted to date you. Maybe he's seen you somewhere. I don't know. It's got nothing to do with me, why your brother's mate is calling you a slag. And my mother has faced shame as she fears what people will be saying about her daughter. Arooj Shah, long before I came along, you were the councillor for St. Mary's. You were beaten in the local election where a record number of Muslim women came out and voted against you. That had nothing to do with me. People in Glodick had already made their minds up about you long before I came along, which is why they voted you out. This is not just words on the internet. This is not fair comment or criticism. This is a coordinated and calculated campaign of harassment intended to hurt and distress me, and even more dangerously, intended to incite others to speak and act against me. Yes, absolutely. Incite others to speak and act against you by voting you out. Apparently, I'm intended to torture her. Multiple incidences where this content has caused people to threaten my life, either online or in person. Well, how many of these people have been charged and convicted? How many of these people have been charged or convicted? 0. Tell me, Arooj, who they are. I'll report them to the police for you. RAJA MIAH is deliberately and systematically running a campaign which seeks to make me a figure and focus of hate. It has worked with hundreds of abusive messages repeating the narrative he has created. Where's the Elbit stuff? Where in her statement is her specific? How does she find? Well, is she finding the term crystal nut racist? Is she finding the term radicalized racist or Islamophobic? What? One sentence in all of that. The rest of this bullshit, bear in mind, they charged me on this. The rest of this bullshit is she doesn't like my campaign bringing to public attention her and her actions and her criminal associations. Thank you, Sally Ann. What has her statement got to do with the fact that Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean falsely, maliciously arrested me? He took this statement 2 weeks afterwards. He'd come and arrested me. Before that, it's exactly that, isn't it, Maggie? Did she honestly think that she was untouchable and the solicitors in the court would not have asked for evidence and proof? It's an absolute joke. The Oldham Times ran with the headline, "I was arrested as part of a child sex exploitation investigation. This is why I was arrested." This bullshit involving Detective Sergeant Christopher Dean on some mission after 4 years of following my work and having a file on me to try and criminalise me. He came and arrested me on his interpretation of who might be offended, hypothetically, by me using the word crystal nut. And she objected 2 weeks later to my concerns that children were being radicalised, and apparently that was Islamophobic, when Muslim girls were holding up banners calling for the eradication of Israel, repeating Hamas slogans.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.